Okay, well, I'm pleased to say we're joined by Dorking Wanderers Director of Football, Jordan Clark, for a well overdue catch up on all things academy. I appreciate it's been a while since we last had a real review of where we're at and what's happening around the academy.
So, sign of the times, Dan, how busy we all are.
Exactly that. But we'll start by having a look at, obviously a lot of things to go through. We'll start by having a look at the education side of the programme, the post-16 education football programme. For the 24-25 year, we've got more BTEC students on board than ever before. We continue our A-level partnerships with Ashcombe School and Donato School as well. And of course, we've got our Key Stage 4 programme with Carrington. So very much busier than ever on the education side of things.
Yeah, very much so, Dan. So for those who are unaware, for the fans and the supporters of the club, the shareholders, everyone who's now, our backroom team as such, the people who support the club and who are invested in the club, both financially and in a emotional way, will be pleased to hear that the academy has never been stronger. So we have, our intake's gone up exponentially. That we've doubled our numbers in terms of BTEC learners from previous years. A-level pathway is going really strong, both at Donato and at Ashcombe. We've got more education offerings than ever. There's more football teams than ever, so we've got 6 full-time teams now, made up of around about 100 learners. And then we've got the Carrington pathway, which has entered into its 2nd year, and now we've got 49 learners there who are studying their GCSEs and on the sort of journey for a 4 or 5 year period. So yeah, the education structure has taken a real ramp up over the last sort of 5-6 months. We knew it was in the offing, obviously with our talent ID days, but you can never guarantee anything until we've had our enrolment period and those numbers become concrete. So yeah, over the moon educationally, we're expecting some of our best results ever. With the cohort we've got a really advanced level of learner across the board. We've now got an education structure in terms of teaching that has been ramped up. So we've got Gareth, who's now full-time with us, got an extensive education background. Bill UK tutor, he's looking after one of our Year 12 groups and our Year 13 group on the BTEC. Charlie Dunn, who many will know from managing the B team, is now full-time with us, tutoring and coaching. So we've got that real synergy between the education and football as well. So yeah, I couldn't be, as I'm talking here, Dan, really pleased. It's we're still in our infancy in terms of the operation. We're only 1 half term in, and there's been a few hoops to jump through, new ways of working, but I can't fault any of the staff, and the learners have started like a house on fire. It's been a whirlwind, but some of the outcomes already we're really pleased with.
No, very much so, and as you mentioned there, with that expansion of the education, again comes the expansion on the footballing side. We've got 6 teams now, as you mentioned, within the academy setup. So we'll go through how those teams have started. All the seasons about a month to 6 weeks underway now in the 24-25 season. Our National Academy South side, we start with them. They obviously head up our programme here, our flagship side, and they've gone 5 games unbeaten to start off in the league this term. Had a really good 6-0 win last week against Boreham Wood. Bobby Joe Taylor, first team player, of course, leading that team, which is fantastic. But with that development of that team, Jordan, and just the impact going into the B team and the first team, really positive start and progress being made with that top team.
Massively, yeah. So if we start from there, obviously we've had that team now for this is our 3rd year. So we've had 2 seasons in that academies division, which is you've got to have an academy licence. I don't think people realise, Dan, the sort of the portfolio we have to put together to be able to provide that team. We've got to have loads of different things in place: goalkeeping coaching, physio. We've got to have loads of they're not tick boxes, but we've got to make sure that we provide loads of different things in terms of facilities, level of coaching. And I'm really pleased to say that we've achieved that academy licence again. It stands for 2 years and we've managed to achieve that again. So again, huge credit to the staff. The team itself is in a really good place. We knew that we had a strong group of first years last year, and also a strong group of second years, and a few have remained with us in our elite development squad, the likes of Joel Brown, Luke Bedge, these players who are doing third years with us, Liam Trevitt. So yeah, we knew this year that we had a really good chance of being, what we wanted to be, and that is in a competitive team in that academies division, and we're proving that. 5 games unbeaten, some really good performances, and yeah, it's that team is our flagship team in the academy. It sort of sits alongside our B team. A lot of the players cross over, and they get such a good development. Getting that exposure of senior football, 3 p.m. Saturday, 30 games, and then going into playing their own age group at a really high level, the technical capacity, the tactical understanding, and we're seeing real fruits of that labour. And we'll come on to that with the sort of first team aspect this year. More debuts than ever, more people training than ever. So yeah, it's no coincidence that we've managed to get to that point, but it's only the start. With now Jonathan Bynes involved, we're getting loads of really good things in the background put together in terms of our loan group, how we manage their development. People like Ollie Rawlins, who's already between the two teams, is already on probably 20 goals. Are we stifling his development? Does he need a loan? So we're trying to make sure that we don't stand still. But I'm really pleased with the growth of that team, and that is obviously, and we'll come on to it, that is obviously provided by all the other teams we've got in the academy, and it's a great aspiration for all them other players in the 4 or 5 other teams to want to be in that squad. So we've got obviously the Div E squad, the Div D squad now, 2 teams in the National League Alliance, a Year 12 and a Year 13 group. We've got 2 tactics teams, a Year 13 and a Year 12 group, all sitting on a level playing field, all within their education pathways, all coached by excellent coaches, and we're already seeing a few starting to push their way into that top team. So the pathways come on massively, and we've got a massive pool of players that are developing at tremendous rates, and we're really proud of that.
Yeah, and that top National League Academy South team, it's great continuity from last year. For the second half of last year, we got to where we really were competing at the top end of that league. So, no, really great continuity from last season into this season. And as you say, we've got those 4 teams beneath that very much support that, of course, and a great thing to aspire to be involved with. But yeah, sitting alongside the National League Academy South team, as you've alluded to there, the B team, who have also made a really good start to this season, and they're carrying on momentum that's built up really over the last 3 years with those consecutive third place finishes in the Southern Combination Division 1. Charlie Dunn taking up the reins, taking over from Ruben for this season, but progress has very much continued as it has done with the B team as well.
Well, yeah, look, it's a massive void to fill. I've got to be honest, losing Ruben. Ruben was a tremendous coach, learnt his trade as a manager with us and developed massively in that area. But he's a tremendous coach, one of the best coaches I've worked with. And he got an opportunity to go and coach at a higher level, and fair play to him. We wished him all the best, and it was a daunting task to look at it and go, well, Ruben backed up 2 years of finishing third after I finished doing that team, and we finished third. So they've been in the top 3 of that division, that team, for the last 3 years. So it was one that we wanted to keep the competitiveness of the team, but we also wanted to go one further than what we had with Ruben. And obviously Ruben had a day job, couldn't be full time, and then we've managed to find someone in Charlie who has been able to come into the club in a full-time capacity, so coupling his education, stewardship of the learners, he's around the boys all the time, and that is so valuable, to have someone who can see the pathway, see all the players from the bottom up, all 100 of them, make his own judgments, work with me on development strategies, and they've started brilliantly, and that team has got a lot of new players in it. I don't think people realise the turnover, and that's a positive thing. Like when you think about, Joel Brown, Hayden Gale, Paddy, Luke Bedge, you know, a lot of these players now have moved on or gone on loan or gone higher up the pyramid. Seb, for example, you know, there's always a turnover and a positive one. So now we've had to bring in some first years, bring in some players who were on the periphery last year in their development in where they were, and now they're playing in the forefront of that team, and it's working. It's working, and you know they're competitive again. I know they've had some really good results, and they've had some indifferent ones as well. Last night was a prime example. You know, we played a full crop of new first years really, give them their first taster of B team football under the lights here at Meadowbank, and we come away getting through the cup tie with a penalty shootout win. So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to seeing Charlie be competitive in that league, but also our development of these players being going up a level, and that's evident already with the amount of contact time we're getting with them. So yeah, really good. It bodes really well, Dan, for the next 6, 7, 8 months of the season, and obviously the outcomes from that. Because unlike most teams at Step 6, the outcome for us isn't promotion. You know, that's not possible. The outcome for us is very much how competitive can we be, plus then we've got other measures of who's progressed well enough to go into our elite development squad, maybe get a first team deal, who is someone we want to keep an eye on, what first years are going to make it their stamp on it the following year. So there's loads of little nuances with our team and that we want to try and achieve with the B team, and we're really doing that really well at the moment, so pleased.
Yeah, no, and we're recording this the day after the Surrey Premier Cup first round tie at Meadowbank last night, and as you've said there, Jordan, yeah, really great performance from a predominantly first year squad that Charlie went with last night. So no, really positive and very much up there in the league as well. So long may it continue for the B team. We've talked through our academy sides there and on the boys' side of things, but one of the highlights of last year, of course, was the introduction of our academy girls team, who competed in the Tactics W1 League last term, competed really well, mid-table finish, and we go again this year. They've made a fantastic start to the season with the three games, 3 wins so far.
Yeah, so we'll come on to it as well. We've got a real good initiative going at the minute in conjunction with the Steve Tallboys Foundation, where we're looking to grow the girls' game. That has been part of our sort of manifesto as such as an academy to try and bridge the gap between having a lot of male learners and wanting to increase the number of female learners, and try and have a pathway to mirror what we've done with the male side of things. And this year it's gone up another level. We've got some excellent players who have come in, more students than ever on the female side. So yeah, and that's obviously paying dividends in the league. Like, we've able to get quite a few from our under-16s last year. We've got players who are still in the system with the development team. So yeah, and they've started like a house on fire again. Like, obviously I expected them to be more competitive than last year because the quality of the team and the amount of investment we're putting into that has gone up. But I didn't expect, I think it was a 4-0, 4-1, 4-1 I think it was. Yeah. I think they're the results, and we're looking very dominant in these games. And there was a real, in pre-season we had a marker when we played Chatham, who are an excellent female setup for an academy. And I think we had a really close run game where last year there was a bit of a void in the competitiveness of that fixture. And that was a marker for us. So yeah, I expected them to do well, and they've started brilliantly, and the girls are really enjoying it, and it's so good to see so many female learners around the place, and they're doing brilliant in their academics as well, and they give us a different dynamic, and we want to impact young aspiring female footballers as much as we do with the male side of the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and long may it continue for our girls' side. And on that side of things as well, Jordan, you mentioned about the another first we've got for this year is the women's development side, who compete in Tier 7 of the women's football pyramid. Just came off the back of a good game against Farnham Town this past weekend here at Meadowbank. Their first defeat of the season, having been unbeaten up until that point. But so pleasing to see that 3 of the girls from that team got into the first team squad for the FA Cup just a couple of weeks ago as well, and that included academy student who's with us for in her first year, Jasmine Smith, who's also top scorer as well. So again, just a real marker of that progress that's being made on the women's side within the football club.
Yeah, well, just a special shout out to Jasmine. Jasmine has, I think, scored, I think that's 7 goals in 3 games for the academy. I know she's been on fire for the dev team as well, as they've entered into a really competitive league in their first year. You know, we've supported that team, we've given them access to Meadowbank, they train at Meadowbank, they train as much as what the dev team, the B team, whatever you want to call it, for the male side of things. So we're putting everyone on a level playing field, because we want them to have as much opportunity as what the male players do. And that's paying dividends. I think they're 2nd or 3rd in that league. Wayne's doing an excellent job, brought through so many players from his under-16 group last year. That's been supplemented with other players as well because of the marker we're making on the women's game. So yeah, like coming up against Farnham, who are a new outfit, but in terms of what they're doing with their women's team, the growth and everything of their women, of their club and the women's side of things, to be on a level playing field with them, with our development team, is fantastic. And a special shout out to Lou and Kerry and Callum and everyone at the women's team who are doing a fantastic job. They've got their furthest ever in the FA Cup. They've got Chatham in the next round, which will be a tough game. They've got some fantastic players. They're putting Dorking Wanderers on the map in terms of women's football. And we've got like a good sort of 4 or 5 year development plan for the women's game, and we want to try and get that team as high as we can up the pyramid. Championship, why not? Do you know what I mean? Like what Lewis do. So yeah, there's loads of aspects to the women's side that watch this space really. Time will pass by and we'll be really competitive, and we'll have a structure, I feel, that will be very hard to rival. So we've got that in our manifesto and how we want to do things, and in our medium to long term strategies, and we're starting to see some reward for the last 18 months, 2 years. But I think this is a good time to mention. So for all female players from next year, we're not, there's no cost element to them for the academy, and we're doing that to sort of take away a stumbling block maybe for some female footballers who maybe not have the finances, or maybe it's a stumbling block for them in terms of, you know, that's a big commitment when I don't know where I want to take my football career. So we're trying to take that away, and that's been possible because of the Steve Tallboys Foundation. Their support for us in terms of impacting young people financially has been great, and that's allowed us to put this initiative in place. So we've got 25 spaces available for female footballers to come and join the Dorking Wanderers Academy free of charge. So all your kit's paid for, everything in terms of the initial costs that are entailed in terms of kit, minibus travel, everything like that is all taken care of. And a huge thank you to the Steve Tallboys Foundation for their partnership. And I know there'll be a press release going out about their partnership with us in the coming days, weeks. And we've got loads of other initiatives to support them as a charity. And it's just, again, without these people, growing the girls' game, supporting young people in our community, having a good youth section, all of this stuff wouldn't be possible. So a huge thank you, and that will allow us to definitely I think we'll get over 25 this year in terms of female footballers in our full-time academy. And this has been made possible by all of our hard worker staff, but also our partners who do such a great job in supporting us financially and as a community.
No, very much so. We thank the Steve Tallboys Foundation for their support, and as you mentioned there, Jordan, press release kind of confirming the partnership we've got with them will be released online imminently. And following what you just said there, in terms of the opportunities for the girls there, any further information that's needed, just drop us an email, academy@dorkingwanderers.com. Our next Talent ID Day, we'll mention this at the end as well, as a reminder to everyone, but our next Talent ID Day, the final one of the calendar year, taking place on Sunday, November the 24th here at Meadowbank, 5 till 8 p.m. So, visit the website and they can sign up for that.
Yeah, get along. You know, when you're making choices, it's good to have all the information. So get along, make some choices, you know, see what we have on offer. Options are power, and you never know, it might be the perfect fit for you to couple A-level education, B-Tech education, and being a full-time footballer. It might be the perfect environment for you, and we encourage anyone, even if it's just a fact finding, just come along, fact find, no, there's no obligation to sign up. It's just an opportunity for us to share what we're doing in the community, and I feel like we're doing good things that can really impact young people.
Yeah, no, the Talent ID days, as you say, it's all about it's as much about them learning about us as us learning about them. So yeah, the last one of the calendar year, Sunday, November the 24th, and we've got further Talent ID Day scheduled in 2025 as well, January, February, and March. So no, and again, for more information on that, visit dwfa.co.uk to get the information to contact us through there. But flipping it back to the male side of things, Jordan, there's opportunities on the first team level. We obviously mentioned with the women's how that's happened very recently. But over the last, since the start of the season on the men's side, with the first team, brilliant to see opportunities for the likes of Joel Brown, we've had Neo Wooster, Mason Miles, all involved with the first team and in getting minutes, and being part of the matchday squads, but also getting minutes. It's been fantastic to see.
Yeah, so it's come in conjunction with Dan. Obviously, the first team going to a more full-time model. They're not quite full-time, but they're doing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I've now changed my sort of structure of my day to be able to be there and coach and be a part of that first team setup. So I've now got a lot more access with the first team players. That has obviously coincided with an easier process of getting players to be involved, both on a requirement level when they want to, plug holes, use bodies, do different things from small-sided games to having enough players, but to also actually who's doing well and who deserves an opportunity. And I've been able to sort of bridge that gap a little bit. So a huge thank you to Mark and James, Tom Duke, Dino, Lighty, or Dino, the other Dino, goalie coach. They've given our players already since pre-season a fantastic opportunity, and that elite development group that we spoke about from last year, the Hayden Gales, the Jack Saunders, the Joel Browns, there's been Neos, the Ollie Rawlins, the Mason Miles. They've all been involved all year, and they've been able to put their stamp on it, and with the more contact time, that trust has built up, and their quality has shone through as well when they've been able to get a few opportunities, coincided with a few injuries and stuff like that. But there has never been a time when we've had this many debuts. We've had 4 or 5 debutants this year. We've had 6 or 7 players in the squad at different times. And that's never happened before. We've had 1 or 2 every now and then, but they've all played their part hugely in pre-season. And Joel, it didn't count for anything, but Joel scored. We've never had an academy learner score for the first team in a league game, and that happened away at Aveley this year. Yeah. So these are all firsts that I don't think need to be thought of as they've just happened. It's been a long process, and the quality of the players that are coming out of the system have been tremendous. We're really getting closer. We're not there yet, but we're getting closer, and these opportunities are proving that gap's closing, and we've got to keep working hard, and these players have got to keep working hard. We've got Hayden Gow out on loan at Bognor. Tremendous player, signed a 2-year deal with the first team. First one on a 2-year deal. That's amazing for him, and he deserves that. One of our Ashcombe learners. So it's just proof that you can get a first-class education with A-levels and still be able to make your football journey here at Dorking Wanderers. Joel Brown from our BTEC pathway. Mason Miles, who's still only a second year, made his debut this year, came on. So yeah, it's the same with Neo, another second year, made his debut away at Aveley as well, and both done really well. So yeah, look, I'm really proud of them. It was a really proud moment for me to see Joel score, even though I was obviously disappointed with the result. But that was in its own, if you put that in its own bracket, it was a lovely moment and a real one of them that you always look back on. So when we do get a first team regular at some point, which will happen, we will get someone. It's it's when you go like, that was a real key moment in this journey, So, and it might be one of the ones we're talking about now, but there's definitely players that are coming through the system that, like Jay Richardson, and there's others that are the first years, Cristiano Barreca. There's players now that you can sort of start marking and going, if they follow the same trajectory as Joel and Mason and people like that, they could be even better. So, you know, it's our job to repeat it and go one further, and then that will close the gap even more. So yeah, really pleased with the first team involvement. It does help them obviously being daytime training, we being full time. There's a lot more access. So yeah, really pleased, and just a huge thank you to Mark and the team at the first team, because it's easier said than done giving people opportunities when you've got a competitive first team environment, and we're not minnows in this league anymore. We're big fishes, so these players have to learn to deal with that, and Mark giving them that trust is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic to see so many involved so far through this season. And you mentioned Hayden Gale there, one of the real highlights and success stories of the academy, as you've acknowledged, him signing a 2-year pro deal. He's subsequently gone out on loan to Bognor Regis Town, and we've got a few other players out on loan as well, getting that senior football experience. Jack Saunders, academy graduate, obviously first team deal as well. He's with Ashford United.
Scored last night.
And scored last night, which is timely. Yeah, he got the goal for them last night in their league game. And we've also got the duo of Matt Hay and Sal Marino as well at Broadbridge Heath. So also competing regularly, senior football, step 4. So really pleasing to see those players kicking on again this year as well.
Yeah, and there'll be more players going out on loan. As I'm talking to you now, Joel Brown will be signing somewhere on loan in the coming days. So that will be really good for him and where he's going in his development. We've got plans for other parts of our elite development squad and our B team players who are, definitely probably too good for step 6 now. So they need to be challenged and get into that environment. So yeah, over the coming weeks, months, you'll start seeing a lot more loan deals occurring and people getting that experience, so we can drive their development. And I want to put on record a big thank you to these clubs, because it's hard taking loan players, and our players have gone in there and they're not just made up the numbers. They're getting like man of the match performances, goals, assists. So we're building a reputation of having good quality young players who can go in at these levels, step 4, step 3, and be a key part of what teams want to. Because these levels of football are not what they were 10 years ago. They're more professional, players are fitter, stronger, more investment than ever, bigger crowds. So, probably step 4 now is probably what step 3 was 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So you're then looking at step 3 now. You've got some teams in there who train daytimes. They wouldn't class themselves as full time, but they train daytime. So you're talking, we've got players of 18, 19 out of these levels getting in front of 1,000 fans every week, getting experience, which will only bode well for when they come back to us and hopefully have gone up a gear and they can then go into our first team environment.
No, absolutely. We look forward to that further progress being made. As you mentioned, more loans to come, that continuity for the players already out there for the rest of the season. So we continue to wish them the very best in their journeys through the course of this campaign. We talked a lot about the academy pathway and progression and up to the first team, but of course what precedes all of that is our youth section, and then the journey for aspiring players beginning there, of course. And it's a new era really that we've got into this year with a new head of youth development joining us at the start of the campaign, Richard Webber. We've got a more streamlined setup now, haven't we, in terms of more of a clear divide in terms of the foundation phase and the development phase. And already we're seeing some real positives on that side of things as we kind of go again with the youth section for 24-25.
Yeah, so we brought Richard in. Richard was known to us. He's a fantastic youth development coach. He's well renowned for that. He's got pedigree over the last 15 years across local clubs here, with businesses local to here, businesses that we've partnered with, Josh Evans, and for example. And it was a no-brainer really when our youth section has got to such a size. We've got to make sure that what we're providing is to the highest possible quality. And Richard gives us that. Richard gives us an organisation, gives us a knowledge base that far exceeds mine in terms of youth football. He is able to be on the ground with it rather than us doing it from afar. He's able to be on the ground, he's active, he's He's coaching teams, looking after phases, putting in people in place for phase leads, and he's able to really sort of earmark players that we want to sort of put on, on our radar to be able to come into the academy, and he's able to make sure that the coaching framework's correct. There's no point us saying we're going to give out good coaching if we've got no one to police that, so he polices that for us. He came in May, so the end of last season. He's had an off season and the start of this season already. We've put in our offerings this year to the youth section that the youth development phase will get 2 sessions. We've been able to deliver on that. We've put in there that they will get access to VOs. Already so many have taken up that usage. We've got match kit, training kit, professional, standards, code of conducts, ways of working, Wanderers Way for 5-a-side, 7-a-side, 9-a-side, 11-a-side. All teams are encouraged to play our way and are outlined to how we want our teams to look, and not only just on the field but behaviours, relationships, and Richard has been able to build that in such a small period of time where a lot of the work was already put in place. So we already had things that he just had to pick up the baton on, but now he's already going to be changing things, and it's going to take probably the rest of this season for him to really put his stamp on things. But already we're seeing the soccer schools, the professionalism of that go up. We've now introduced a development centre, so players who can't get into a team yet, or looking for a team, or want extra training, we've got that offering on a Wednesday. Something we've never done before. So again, we're just adding goalkeeper training, specific for each phase. He's brought in a really good goalkeeping coach. So the youth section is nowhere near where we want it to be in terms of our long-term plans, but I got to say in the last 6 months the short-term gains have been through the roof, so really pleased with that. Huge shout out to like Ben Dyson and people like that who, and with all of our busy schedules, how we sort of took that on with Paul Whitlock in the first 18 months. But now with Richard in, and us all supporting Richard and us all working together, I think the youth section will only go one way, and that'll be developing players, but mainly developing good members of society, impacting young people, like what all of our community is about, which is being inclusive, wanting to work with everyone, and that is proof in the pudding with our structure at the moment. And some of the results already, like we've got, it's not about just results on the pitch, that will take care of itself, but we've got so much recognition already from other teams, just admiring what we're doing and how we're doing things. So huge credit. And again, I'm just looking at like the under 7s now. When you look at it and go, right, in 10 years time, they're going to hopefully be in the academy. Imagine if you've got someone who started with our mini Wanderers, come through into our under 7s, into our pathway, go through the foundation phase, youth development phase, end up in the academy, B team, first team. That's part of my long-term plan. I want that to be the case, and you're already seeing so many good young players that can definitely, if we get it right, we can spearhead their development to achieving that end goal.
Yeah, there's such a so many positives already, as you say, with how we've evolved this year with the youth setup and with Richard coming in, and it all bodes well for that through line, as you say, from starting out in mini Wanderers right through to the top end of the academy, the B team, the first team. So real positives with the growth on that side of things. And just in terms of the youth section, we're speaking a couple of days before the half-term break. We've got our October soccer school next Monday and Tuesday, 2 half days here at Meadowbank. Still got availability for both those days. Head over to dwfa.co.uk, hit book now, and you can book online, secure your place for that next week. And also next week, on those 2 days, we're launching, and it's a first for us for this year, something that we're starting for the first time this year, youth tournaments. So every soccer school, we're running designated youth tournaments for set age groups, and next week we kick off with under 7s, under 8s. So really another pleasing initiative.
Yeah, well, we put
to
we put it in place because, you know, at that foundation phase, that real entry level football, it's about contact time. It's about contact time. It's about match play. It's about ball rolling. It's about just so much exposure. And we just looked at it and thought, you know, in this foundation phase, we'll run tournaments in half terms. We'll run tournaments. We'll get other teams in. You know, again, another fantastic idea by Richard, and we've made it happen. So yeah, it's about them getting exposure on a 3-4 hour period of playing games back to back, loads of contact time, loads of chances to make decisions, good and bad, mistakes, learn from them, good things, keep them going. So yeah, anyone who's listening to this who knows another team at under 7, under 8s wants to get involved, or you know your son or daughter is in an under 7, 8 team, maybe not with Wanderers, but when their team want to come down, let us know. It's about us again, adding something to all the local clubs around here, the Dorkinians, Brocken Badgers, St Paul's Panthers. You know, we're a big community, Dorking, Mole Valley, big area, and these tournaments are for everyone. And we're just adding in our team so that they get exposure to playing as many games as possible.
Yes, and again, like with the soccer school bookings, that the tournament bookings can also be done via the website. We've still got a few spaces left for the under 7, under 8 tournaments next week. So again, head to dnbfa.co.uk, hit the book now, and follow the links from there. And just looking ahead, Jordan, to the final couple of months of the calendar year, we've got some. We mentioned the Steve Talboys Foundation earlier on, obviously launching that, and some exciting things happening there. Big thank you to our sponsors for 24-25, obviously Station View Garage, our main sponsor, as in shot there. But we're so grateful and thankful to them and all of our partners who sponsor us and support us so well. And we have got a networking event, a sponsorship event taking place in December, haven't we, to acknowledge
December
that?
the 18th.
So, yes,
yeah, December the 18th. We've got all of our sponsors coming down. So we've got MW Roofing, I think it is. We've got Steve Talboys. We've got Station View. We've got Dreams Holiday by Zoe, Wexco.
Yeah.
You know, this is a designated event for our sponsors, for us just to go, you know, big thank you, show them some of the work that we're doing, and just continue to network and work with them. You know, these sponsors are not just about the financial backing, and that is massive in itself, because, you know, what the learners get, you know, in terms of kit, equipment, is unrivaled. You know, you see them around town, they're all kitted out, you know, they've got coats, they've got everything, all at a reasonable cost, and that's due to the financial backing. But more so, like, without Station View, they wouldn't have been able to have the lunches at the price that they do. You know, that support, we're able to, those learners who can't afford laptops, we're able to give something back to them. You know, all of our sponsors give us so much. You know, Station View obviously have got a good apprenticeship. They're going to talk about how that sort of works, and the journeys that Greg and the people at Station View have been on in the sector, in the workplace, the skill sets that allowed them to be successful in what they do. So yeah, they're more than just sponsors in the background. They're at the face of what we do, and it's that sponsorship event is just a token little thank you from us, and we wish we could do more. But yeah, they're going to come down and we'll have a good sponsors event, and maybe have to stay at the White Horse that night. So
yeah, I'll get that. That's a reminder to get that booked, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. No, massive thank you again to all of our sponsors around the club. Of course, Station View Garage, our main sponsor here at the academy. And just finally, Jordan, we mentioned it earlier on, but a reminder, as we always look forward, always look to the future. Our next Talent ID Day taking place Sunday, November the 24th here at Meadowbank, 5 till 8 p.m. We always start with a presentation, often led by yourself, Jordan, to give people an overview and an introduction to the programme, and then that's followed by the practical session out on the field. So hopefully we can welcome as many people as we can to our November one coming up shortly.
Yeah, just to give people an idea, like last year we had 200 applicants, and we can only take around about 80. That's the honest truth of it.
Whilst we've got more coming up, the early, especially with the A-level, there's demand for A-level spaces as well.
Demand for A-level spaces, yeah. It's really important that people don't think, March will be okay. I expect our recruitment to probably be closed come Jan. That's what I expect. and then we'll use the February and March talent ID days as more get to know each other. That's what it's been like over the last couple of years. So get along to November, get along to Jan. If there's still places, get along to Feb. Come along as much as you can, and just like I say, fact find. We might be a good opportunity for you. It might not be right for you, but we're open to everyone. We're not looking for Ronaldo, Messi, Mary Earps. You know, we're not looking for we're looking for people who embody our values, embody our ethos, hardworking, get what the club's about, which is all mucking in together and not forgetting our roots and achieving something beyond belief. And we've been able to do that over the last 8-9 years, and we want to be able to keep that going, and the next group of learners will take us to a new level, I'm sure. So come and be a part of it.
Yeah, no. So the next one, Sunday, November the 24th, here at Meadowbank, 5 till 8 p.m. Available to book your space online now, dwfa.co.uk. Any more information needed, do just drop us a line at academy@dorkingwanderers.com. Jordan, thank you for your time, and it's we won't leave it as long till the next update. We'll try and back end of the year, definitely. Start of 2025, we'll sit down and catch up again.
Definitely.
Give everyone an update on how things are going. But in the meantime, thank you, Jordan, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Dan.